Good morning, guys. In the last session, we discussed about what is the Spring Framework and what are the modules available in the Spring Framework and what is the purpose of each module. So we discussed about core module that will provide fundamental concepts of the framework. Context module is available. It will support for configuration management. DAO module is available, which is used to communicate with the database. Okay. So already JDBC available. Then why we are going for the DAO? In the JDBC, we need to write some duplicate code. When you go for the Spring DAO, it will provide some predefined classes so that easily we can develop our persistence layer by using DAO. Spring ORM is available. It is also used to communicate with the database only, but by using objects, you can perform the operation. Insert one object, retrieve one object, update one object, delete one object. You can do the operations in the database by using object with the help of ORM. Spring AOP available, aspect-oriented programming. What is the meaning of aspect-oriented programming? We can separate business logics and cross-cutting logics in our application. And we are having WebMVC module, which is used to develop a web application. Okay, to develop the web applications, we will use WebMVC module. Next one, Spring REST is available, which is used to develop REST APIs in the application. Basically, to develop distributed applications, we are going to use Spring REST module. And the next one, Spring Security, which is used to implement authentication and authorization in the application. And the Spring Cloud module is available, which is used to develop microservices. So when you want to develop the application by using microservices architecture, then we can go for Spring Cloud module. And the next one, Spring Batch is available, which is used to implement batch processing. Sending the statements to multiple customers at a time comes under batch operation. To do that batch operation, we are going for Spring Batch module. And the next one, Spring Scheduler is available. So if you want to automate some task in the project, then we are going to use Spring Scheduler module. Correct. Good. So next one, we are going to start developing our applications by using Spring Framework. Spring is a Java-based framework. By using Spring, we can develop several types of applications. We can develop standalone application, we can develop web application, and we can develop distributed applications also by using our Spring framework. Okay, good. Now fine, let's start with what is a core module and why we need to use this Spring core module. So how we will develop the applications by using our Spring core module. Okay, as we discussed already, core module is called as base module. Core module is called as a base module. It is providing fundamentals of Spring framework. So what are those fundamentals available, guys? As we discussed already, IOC is available, dependency injection is available, auto wiring is available. So if you want to develop any Spring application, these three things are very important. IOC container, dependency injection, and auto wiring. So why we need to use this core module, how it is going to help us in our project's development. Let's take a scenario. Now, for example, if you talk about a project, multiple classes will be available in the project. Okay, in a project, multiple classes will be available. Some classes are called as controller classes. Some classes are called as service classes. Some classes are called as DAO classes. So project nothing but collection of classes. Okay, so project means collection of classes. In a project, we will have several classes. Several classes will be available in the project. Some classes are called as controller classes. Some classes are called as service classes, and some classes are called as DAO classes. What is the responsibility of the controller? It will take the request from the UI application. It will take the request. It will send the response back to the UI. Controllers are responsible to handle the request and send the response. Then what about the service class? Business logic will be available. And so here, controller classes, request and response, they will handle. Okay. User request, user response will be handled by controller classes. What about the service classes? business logic will be available. Sending email, sending OTP, Excel generation, and PDF generation, validate the data, make the third-party web service call, access another application from our application. All those business logics will be available inside the service class. And the next one, DAO classes will be available for DB communication. What is the purpose of DAO classes? DAO classes are used for database communication. They are used to communicate with the database. All right. Now, when multiple classes are available, one class should call another class method. One class should call another class method. So when you are going to develop a project, one class is going to talk to another class. That means one class is dependent on the another class. If a controller class want to call the service class method, then what is required? Service object should be available in the controller. If a service want to talk to the DAO object should be injected in the service. So one class is dependent on the another class. So now how one Java class can communicate with the another Java class here, that is the concept. So we are going to develop multiple classes in the project. Controllers will be available, services will be available, DAOs will be available. Now, one Java class in the project, if you take 100 classes, 1000 classes also can be available. One Java class should call the method of the another Java class. Now, my question is, how many ways one Java class can call another Java class method? What are 3 ways? Object, by using class name. Forget about I am writing all the instance methods. How one Java class method can call another Java class method. So you understand, right? Project means multiple classes will be available. User will click on login button. Login request will go to controller class. Controller class should call the service class method. Service class method should call the DAO class method. So how can we call one Java class method in the another Java class method? 2 ways are there. So by creating the object, one class method can call the another class method. Creating the object is one approach. What is the second approach? What is the second approach? By using inheritance. By using inheritance, one Java class method can call the another Java class method. Or by extending the properties, one Java class method can call the another Java class method. So here, one class should call another class method. So we have 2 ways. In two ways, one Java class can call another Java class method. Okay. What are those 2 ways, guys? One is by using inheritance. One is by using inheritance, which is called easier relation. Another one is by using composition, nothing but object creation. So composition, nothing but object creation, which is called as a relation. If one Java class method wants to talk to another Java class method, we have 2 approaches. One is called easier relation. Another one is called as a relation. One is called easier relation. Another one is called as a relation. Now, I want to develop one application with the easier relation and with as a relation. Okay. So here, let me use my IDE. I'm using IntelliJ IDE. Which IDE you guys are using, guys? Eclipse you are using. So do you have IntelliJ also? No. So okay, fine. Currently, let me go with the Eclipse IDE only. So later I will show you how to install the IntelliJ IDE, how to work with the IntelliJ IDE. Currently in the market, people are using IntelliJ IDE. Okay, that is very famous IDE, very powerful IDE when compared with the Eclipse. Okay, so as you are new to this one, first I am going to use Eclipse IDE. Then we will use IntelliJ IDE also. Let me create one folder. Workspace folder I am going to create. I just want to develop one simple application and I want to tell you what is the purpose of core module. If you don't use the core module, then what is the problem? Okay. And the problem, how the problem will be solved by using core module. So our batch is 45 SBMS. I'm creating my workspace folder here. Now let me choose this workspace in the Eclipse IDE. The examples I'm developing, those examples will be stored into this workspace. Okay, click on launch. My Eclipse IDE is getting open. There I will create a normal Java project. Our agenda, how to perform easier relation, as a relation, and we need to understand what are the problems available with the easier relation and as a relation, and how Spring Core module will solve those problems. That is the agenda. First, understand the problem, then we will see the solution for that problem by using core module. Okay, good. Now, I open my IDE. I'm going to create one simple Java project. Okay, so create a simple Java project. Normal Java project I'm creating. File, new, one project. Okay, so it is a normal Java project I'm creating. First application I'm creating 01 app. Okay, 01 app I'm creating here. Click on next. Java 17 version I'm using to create the project. Click on finish. Yes, so with this my project is ready. Now I will develop two classes. One class wants to talk to another class, right? So for this one, let me increase the font size. Perfect. Now project is created. Inside the SRC, I'm going to create one new class. So let me take the class with a name. I'm creating a package called in.ashokit. In this, I'm creating a class with a name called engine. I'm creating a class with a name called engine. Inside the engine class, I'm going to write one method which is called public integer start method. Public integer start method. Now inside this, some logic will be available to start the engine, and it is going to return 1. Positive number. 1 means it is engine is start. Engine is started. 0 means engine is not started. That is our understanding. Okay. I'm just taking one method called start method. Inside the start method, I'm writing some logic and I'm returning some positive number. That means my engine is started. Very good. So here I'm going to create one more class with a name called car. I'm creating a class with a name called car. So here I want to drive the car. Public void drive the car. So if you want to drive the car, then we need to start the engine. So that means, can I say car is dependent on engine? Can you drive the car without engine? No. My car class is dependent on the engine. My application is car application. I want to drive the car. If I want to drive the car, first I need to start the engine. If engine is started, then only I can drive the car. If engine is not started, I cannot drive the car. So I am taking two classes here. I'm taking two classes here. One is a car class and another one is engine class. Inside the engine class, I'm having a start method. This is my engine and there is a start method. So here I'm taking another class called car, and the car is having drive method. So this is my application. So a simple application I'm taking to understand what is the problem with the easier relation and as a relation. If I want to drive this car, then what is required? Car should start the engine. Inside the car, we need to start the engine. If engine is started successfully, then only I can drive the car. Otherwise, I cannot drive the car. So now, if you observe, there are two classes available. One class is dependent on the another class. So if I want to drive the car, I need to start the engine. So that means car class should call the engine class method. Car class should call the engine class method. These are two different classes. If car class want to call the engine class method, how many ways available? In how many ways car class can call the engine class method? 2 ways available. Car can extend the properties from the engine. Car can extend the properties from the engine. Then our class will become super class. Engine will become super class. Car will become subclass. Subclass method can access the superclass method. Subclasses can access the superclass method. That is inheritance concept. That is one approach. Okay. So let me go here and let me extend the properties. How to extend the properties? Extends from engine. Then what is the method available? Start method available. Where it is available? Superclass. super dot start. Super dot start. It is going to give me the return type. Okay. So start status, engine status. Engine status I'm getting as a variable. If engine status is equal to 1, if engine status is equals to 1, that means I can say system.out.println journey start. All right. Suppose if the engine status is not 1, that means engine failed, engine problem. Are you able to follow me? Okay. So my car class is talking to engine class by extending the properties. All right. So if engine status is 1, that I can say my journey is started. If engine status is not 1, that I can say my journey is failed. Yes, give me 1 minute. Yeah. Online people, is my voice audible? Yes. Students, is my voice audible now? Is my voice audible? Clear? Last person. Yeah, good. So my car class is available. My car class is extending the properties from the engine. How I am extending the properties? By using extends keyword. Car class is extending the properties from engine class. So can I say my car is dependent on the engine? Car is dependent on the engine. Engine is dependent on the car. Car is dependent on the engine. Or engine is dependent on the car. Car is dependent on the engine. Guys, is my voice clear for online students? Echo voice. Okay. Fine. Good. So car class is dependent on the engine class. Car is dependent on the engine. So now car class want to call the engine class method. That's why I'm extending the properties from the engine class. So if I do like this, that is fine. One class is able to talk to another class. Let me test this application. I'm creating one test class here, new Java class. I'm taking a class with a name called test. Okay. So here, let me write one main method. Let me write one main method. Let me create the object car C is equal to new car, then C dot drive. Car C is equal to new car, then C dot drive. So when I run this application, what will happen? Run as Java application. Yes, our journey started. If you want, you can keep one more message here. System.out.println engine also started. We can say engine started. Go for the test class, right click, run as Java application. Yes, my engine is started, my journey also started. So this is the regular approach that we follow while practicing. When one Java class method wants to talk to another Java class method, we are going to extend the properties and we are going to call the methods. But this is not recommended in the project. This is not recommended in the project. So if you have 2 classes, then going with the inheritance is okay. But if I have 1,000 classes in the project, my car class want to talk to engine class and my car class want to talk to brake class also. Brake will be available for the car, engine will be available for the car, and what is that? Music system will be available in the car. So I have multiple classes in the project. Car should talk to engine, car should talk to the brake, car should talk to the music system also, car should talk to airbags also. So there are so many classes are available if you want to manufacture a car software. So if you want to manufacture a car software, so many classes we need to develop. Engine, brake, music system, airbag, then car will be available. Now, currently, my car is talking to engine by using inheritance. What is the problem here? Can my car extend the properties from any other class in the future? Can my car extend the properties from any other class in the future? No. Why? Java does not support for multiple inheritance. That's why when we are developing a project, if one class want to talk to multiple classes, we cannot go with the inheritance. We cannot go with the inheritance. Inheritance is not the recommended option. Inheritance is not the recommended option when one class want to talk to multiple classes, because Java does not support for multiple inheritance. Java does not support for multiple inheritance. Are you guys able to follow me? Very good. So now you understand the problem. So I have a engine class. My engine class want to talk to the car class. So car is extending the properties from the engine. This approach is not recommended. Is a relation. So this is a generic concept. What is easier relation in the Java? When one Java class want to extend the properties from another Java class, we are going to follow easier relation. Engine class is available. Now I am taking car class also. Let me take the car class here. So what are the problems available in the above approach? In the above approach, car is extending properties from engine class. So recommended or not recommended? Not recommended. Why? Because in future, car cannot extend properties from other classes, because Java does not support multiple inheritance. Java does not support multiple inheritance. Project means not only two classes. Project means thousands of classes will be available. So one class should talk to multiple classes in the real time. So for that, if you choose inheritance option, then you can extend the properties from only one class. Java does not support for multiple inheritance. Now, to overcome this problem, what is the solution we have? What is the solution we have? The solution is has a relation. Okay. To overcome the problems of easier relation, we are going to use a concept called has a relation. Now let me change my code according to has a relation. Are you guys clear with the car class now? What is the problem in the car class? Inheritance is the problem. At a time, we can extend the properties from only one class. But in the project, only one class will be available or multiple classes will be available. In a project, multiple classes will be available. In a project, multiple classes will be available. Now let me change the properties. Online students, are you able to follow me? Online students, are you able to follow me? Is my voice clear? Yes, perfect. Now I am going to, here super keyword is optional, because even if you don't give the super keyword also, super class method is going to execute. Fine. Now let me remove the inheritance here. Whatever the engine class object is required to call the method, I will create the object manually. Engine eng is equal to new engine. Then I am going to use eng.start. eng.start. Now, is there any problem with the inheritance now? Earlier, our code is related to easier relation. Now, our code is related to has a relation. What is the meaning of a has a relation? What is the meaning of a has a relation? Come on. Easier relation we have seen. Now, what is the meaning of a has a relation? What is the meaning of a has a relation? When you want to access one Java class method in the another Java class method, we need to create the object. Are you getting my point? So when our car should talk to the engine, either you extend the properties or you create the object to call the other class method. If I extend the properties, there is a problem. Only one class we can extend. In the project, multiple classes will be available. So that's why I am not extending the properties. I am going to create the object directly. Engine eng is equal to new engine, and I am calling the method. I'm calling the method. Go to the test class and run the test class now. Right click, run as Java application. Engine started, my journey also started. Engine started, my journey started. Yes, fine. Our task is completed. But what is the problem here? What is the problem here? We are directly creating the object for the class. We are directly creating object for the class. Tomorrow, if somebody modify engine class constructor, they have added a constructor and they are expecting some parameter for the constructor. Okay. So somebody modified the engine class constructor. Earlier, when we don't have any constructor, default constructor will be available. Car class is using default constructor to create the object. Are you getting my point? If we, in the Java class, if we don't write any constructor, in the Java class, if we don't write any constructor, then Java compiler will add one default constructor to create the object. Inside the car class, we are using that default constructor and we are creating the object. That is fine. Our task is completed. After 2 days, another programmer modified engine class constructor. Instead of default constructor, they added one parameterized constructor. They added one parameterized constructor because they want to make some changes to the engine class. They modified the engine class constructor directly. If they modify engine class constructor, then car class will be failed. We are getting an exception in the car class. Why we are getting exception in the car class? My car class is creating the object for the engine class by using default constructor. When I am developing the car class, engine is having only default constructor. But today, somebody modified that engine class constructor. They added parameterized constructor. When they add parameter constructor, it is affecting on the car class. Whenever you modify engine class constructor, it is affecting on the car class. For example, in our project, at 200 places, I'm creating the object for the engine class with the default constructor. Somebody added only parameters constructed for the engine. Then what will happen? All the classes who are dependent on the engine will fail at the compilation time only. That is called dependency problem. One Java class is dependent on the another Java class. So you are creating the object for the engine to call the start method. You are creating the object for the engine class to call the method. So that means whenever some changes are happened, whenever some changes happen to the engine class, then our car class is failing. Okay. So is it recommended to create the objects like this? Is it recommended to create the objects like this? So if you extend the properties, there is a problem. If you create the object also, there is a problem. So these approaches are not recommended to access one Java class method from the another Java class method. Are you able to follow me? So as part of your core Java, as part of your advanced Java, you created so many classes, you created so many methods. One Java class method will call another Java class method. Sometimes you will use inheritance. Sometimes you will create the object. But when you are doing the core Java, advanced Java, maximum 1 or 2 or 3 classes you will develop. So when you develop 1, 2 classes, 3 classes, you will not see any problem like this. But once you go to the project, 1,000 classes will be available. When there are 1,000 classes available, one class will talk to another class. That class will talk to some other class. So there is a lot of dependency. Lot of dependency will be available among the classes in our application. So if you use inheritance, that is not recommended. If you create the object, there is a chance of getting the problems in the future. So now these approaches, whatever the approaches we are using, these approaches are recommended or not recommended. This approach is also not recommended. That means easier relation is not recommended and hazier relation is also not recommended. Easier relation is not recommended and hazier relation also not recommended. Why easier relation not recommended? Why easier relation not recommended? Only one class we can extend. To overcome problems of easier relation, we can use hazier relation. To overcome the problems of easier relation, we can use hazier relation. So what is the meaning of a hazier relation? Create the object and call the method. Create the object and calling the method is called has a relation. Create object and call the method. So if I create the object and call the method, what is the problem? What is the problem? What is the problem with the has a relation? What is the problem with the has a relation? If somebody modify, if somebody modify engine class, then it will affect on the car. If somebody modify engine class, then it will, if somebody modify engine class constructor, if someone modify engine class constructor, then car class will fail. Car class will fail. So what is the conclusion now? In a project, multiple classes will be available. One class should talk to another class. If one class want to talk to another class, we can go for easier relation and we can go for has a relation. In the easier relation, problem available. In the has a relation also, problem available. Then how we need to call one Java class method from the another Java class method? Easier relation is not recommended. We have seen the problem. Has a relation also not recommended. There is a problem. Apart from these two approaches, is there any other approach available? How one Java class can access another Java class method? Come on, think and tell me. Aggregation means? No, that's not the right answer. Generally, without these two approaches, it's not possible. Either you have to use easier relation or has a relation. Otherwise, one Java class cannot communicate with the another Java class. Only two approaches. If one Java class want to access another Java class, then go for easier or go for has a. But we have seen with the easier relation, there is a problem. With the has a relation also, there is a problem. Now, what we need to do is, if you want to solve this problem, we will go with the has a relation only. We will go with the has a relation only, but we should not create the objects directly. Are you getting my point? So inheritance is 100% not recommended because only one class you can extend at a time. If you want to extend from the another class, Java will not support for multiple inheritance. We need to go with the has a relation only. So what is the problem with the has a relation? We are creating the object manually. By using new operator, we are creating the object. Tomorrow, if they change the constructor, our code also should be changed. So here, to solve this problem, what we need to do is, we should not create the object. We should not create the object directly. That's where Spring core module comes into picture. When you are having multiple classes, if one class want to talk to the another class, go with the has a relation, but you don't create the object. If you create the object, your classes will become tightly coupled. Without engine class, car class cannot be executed. If there is any change to the engine class constructor, it will affect on the car class. That is the reason we are calling this car and engine as tightly coupled classes. What is the meaning of tightly coupled classes? If engine class is modified, car class will be affected. So those classes are tightly coupled. So to avoid this problem, we need to develop our classes with loosely coupling. We need to develop our classes with the loosely coupling. If you make your classes loosely coupled, then Spring core module will give you IOC container. IOC container will create the objects for you, will give the objects for you. You no need to create the objects in the class. If you create the object directly, there is a maintenance problem. And if you create the object directly, if you want to create the object directly, you should know object creation process. That means car class is dependent on the engine. Engine class having a constructor. You need to pass the parameter to the constructor. Engine class is dependent on the some other class called fuel class. Okay. The complete structure you need to know to create the objects. So that is not recommended. That's where in order to manage our classes in the project, we are going to use a concept called Spring Core module. If you go for the Spring Core module, without creating the objects directly, we can communicate from one class to another class, because instead of we are creating the objects, IOC container will create the object. IOC container will give the object for us. We will use the object and we will call the method. So the thing is, whatever this line of code is available, this line, if you write it directly, there is a tightly coupling. I don't want to write this line. I don't want to create the object. I want the object which is created by someone. I want somebody to create the object and give me the object. I will use that object and I will call the method. If I don't create the object, then there is no problem. The only problem is object creation. So why there is a problem with the object creation? Tomorrow, if parameters are changed for the constructor, car is affected. Car is directly talking to engine. Car is dependent on the engine. These classes are called tightly coupled classes. In the project, we should not write like this. We should not create the objects directly. If you create the objects directly, those classes are called tightly coupled classes. Okay. Now, to avoid this problem, we are going to use Spring Core module. What is the purpose of Spring Core module? It is used to manage the classes. What is the purpose of core module, guys? What is the purpose of Spring Core module? Spring Core module is used to manage the classes. Spring Core module is used to manage the classes. What is the meaning of managing the classes? Create the objects. Create the objects and give the object for the required classes. Now, here we can say car class is called as target class. Which class we want to execute, guys? Our requirement is I want to execute a class called car class. The class which we are executing, that is called target class. Okay, which class method you want to call? Car class method, because it is having a drive. My requirement is to drive the car. What is my requirement? My requirement is to drive the car. So what is my target? Car is my target. But car can start directly, or car requires engine. Car requires engine. So car is dependent on the engine. So that's why this class is called as dependent class. Target class is available. Dependent class is available. Currently what we are doing? We are creating the object for dependent class in the target class to call the dependent class method. If I want to call the engine method, engine object is required. Engine is called as a dependent. Currently, as a programmer, we are creating the object for the dependent object. We are creating the object for the dependent class. But is it recommended or not recommended? Creating the object for the dependent class is recommended or not recommended? Come on, man. Not recommended. Why not recommended? Tightly coupling. Why not recommended? Tightly coupling. So here, inside the car class, I'm creating the object for the engine. That's why these classes are called tightly coupled classes. If you write it, no problem. If they don't write it, if you write both parameter and non-parameter, no problem. Suppose they did not write the non-param, they have created only parameter construct. Then what about the car class? It will fail. You think it, but is there any guarantee that everybody will do it? There is no guarantee. If you know the impact, you will do it. I am a fresher. I don't know the impact. Then I will not write it. Then project will fail or yes. So that is the tightly coupling problem. That is tightly coupling problem. That's why in the real-time projects development, we should not create the objects directly like this. If you create the objects directly like this, then there is a chance of tightly coupling. Our project also can fail if somebody modify the engine class constructor here. Are you able to follow me? Yes. Yes, we are able to understand. Then how to resolve this problem? To resolve this tightly coupling problem only, we are going to use a concept called Spring Core Module. We are going to use Spring Core Module. What is the main purpose of the Spring Core Module? The main purpose of the Spring Core Module to manage the classes available in the application. Are you able to follow me? Yes, Spring Core Module mainly used to manage the classes available in the application. Now you observe. So when we are developing a project, we are going to develop several classes. What classes will be available in the project, guys? Come on. What type of classes will be there in the project? Inside your project, controller classes will be available, service classes will be available, DAO classes also will be available. Controller classes will be available, service classes will be available, DAO classes also will be available. One class should call another class method in a project execution, process. One Java class should call another Java class method. Should call another Java class method. How many ways one Java class method can call another Java class method? In two ways they can call. What are the two ways available? One is easier relation, another one is has a relation. One is easier relation, another one is has a relation. What is the meaning of easier relation? Extend the properties from one class to another class. Extend the properties from one class to another class. Okay, so that subclass can access superclass method directly. Subclass method can access superclass method directly. Now I am making engine class as superclass and I am making car class as subclass. Then what is the meaning of that? Car class can access engine class method. Car class can access engine class method. But what is the problem? Car can extend the properties from only one class. We can't extend from any other class because Java does not support for multiple inheritance. Then how to resolve that multiple inheritance problem? How to avoid the problem with the EJ? Instead of extending the properties, you go for has a relation. What is the meaning of a has a relation? Create the object and call the method. So engine class object you will create in the car class. Inside car class, create object for engine class and call engine class method. Problem is solved. Okay, but what is the problem? If you create the object directly like this, if one class is creating the object of the another class directly, then we can see there is a tightly coupling. What is the meaning of tightly coupling? What is the meaning of tightly coupling? If any changes happen to the engine class, then car class will be affected. But in the project, one class can be accessed by multiple classes. So if you make some changes to one class, all the dependent classes, all the classes will be affected. So that's why it is not recommended to create the object directly. Now, what we are expecting is without extending the properties, without creating the object, I should be able to communicate from one Java class to another Java class. Then our problem will be solved. My target is I want to develop my classes with loosely coupling. What is the meaning of loosely coupling? If you make changes to one class, other classes should not be affected. If you make changes to one Java class, other Java classes should not be affected. That is called loosely coupling. If you make changes to one Java class, other Java classes should not be affected. That is called loosely coupling. Are you guys able to understand my point? Are you guys able to understand my point? Yes. Yeah. Yes. No. So generally car is dependent on the engine, but in the Spring terminology, which class you are calling, that is called target. So this car is dependent on engine. We will show like this. Car dependent on engine. Okay, right. Car is our target. This car depends on the engine. This car depends on the engine. So when I am say dependent, car is dependent on this class. I'm not saying engine is dependent. Car is dependent on the engine. You got my point. So now car class want to talk to engine class. Car is dependent on the engine. So is a, has a, both are having the problem. So both will make your classes as tightly coupled. So developing a project with the classes tightly coupling, recommended or not recommended? Not recommended. Why not recommended? Why it is not recommended? If some changes happen to the engine class, it will affect on the car class functionality. So directly we should not extend the properties. Directly we should not create the object. Then how to develop the classes? To call one class method from the another class without creating the object, without extending the properties. Then our classes will be loosely coupled. So to achieve that loosely coupling, we need to go for core module in the Spring framework. Spring framework core module will take care of these operations. Okay. My one car class want to talk to engine, but I don't want to extend the properties. I don't want to create the object. I want somebody to manage my classes. I want somebody to create the object for my classes so that I can call the methods directly. You create the object, you take that button to create the object, you give me the object for me, then I will use the object, I will call the method. Then my classes will be loosely coupled. So to achieve loosely coupling among the classes in the project, we need to use Spring core module. Are you able to understand? Yes. What is the Spring core module here? Spring core module is called as base module of Spring framework. Spring core module is called as base module of Spring framework. It is providing fundamentals concepts of the Spring framework. Where we will use this Spring core module? Spring core module is used to manage our classes in the project. It is used to manage our classes in the project. What is the meaning of managing the classes? Create the object and give the object. Okay, managing nothing but you create the object and you give the object. So here actually, who is responsible to create the object? Programmer. Because I am developing this project, I am developing the classes. I want to call one class method in the another Java class method. I am responsible to create the object. I am responsible to call the object. But I can do it. But what is the problem? I can create the object. I can call the method. What is the problem? Tightly coupling. So to avoid this tightly coupling, I should not create the object. But I need the object. But I should not create the object. That is called inversion. Inversion means reverse. What is the meaning of inverse? Inverse means reverse. Whatever the work I have to do, instead of I am doing that, I am giving to somebody to do my task. That is called inversion of control. I am giving the control to somebody to create the objects for my classes. That's why IOC is called inversion of control. Inversion of control means whatever the work programmer is supposed to do, that programmer giving the task to IOC to create the object. IOC will create the object. IOC will manage the object. IOC will create the object. IOC will manage the object. IOC will give the object. We will use the object. We will call the method. IOC container. IOC is responsible to create the object and give the objects for the required classes. Create the object for dependent classes and keep the objects in the target classes. That is called dependency injection. So what is the meaning of dependency injection? Dependency injection nothing but you create the object for the engine class, create the object for the engine class and take this engine class object and keep that engine class object in the target class. Then car class can call the method by using the object. So whatever the object which is creating for the engine, that object it will keep in the target. That means You create the object for the engine, you give the object to the car. Then car will use the object, will call the shortcut. That is called dependency injection. The official definition, the process of creating one class object and inject into another class object is called as dependency injection. I need the engine object. Instead of I am creating, IOC container will create the engine object, will keep that engine object in the car object. That is called dependency injection. Can you tell me the definition? What is the dependency injection? Create one class object and inject into another. Inject means keeping that. Inject means keeping that. Creating one class object and inject into another class object is called as dependency injection. Creating one class object and injecting into another class object is called as dependency injection. Are you guys able to follow me? Yes, let me write the definition for that. Okay. To overcome the problems of is-a and has-a relationship, to overcome problems of is-a and has-a relation, we can use Spring core module concepts. To overcome problems of is-a and has-a relation, we can use Spring core module concepts. With the is-a and has-a relation, classes are becoming tightly coupled. With is-a and has-a relation, our classes are becoming tightly coupled. With is-a and has-a relation, our classes are becoming tightly coupled. To overcome the problems of is-a and has-a relation, we can use Spring core module concept. What are those concepts? IOC container and dependency injection. IOC container and dependency injection. What is the meaning of dependency injection now? What is the meaning of dependency injection? Create one class object and inject into another class object. Create one class object and inject into another class object is called as dependency injection. Create one class object and inject into another class object is called as dependency injection. We can also say create the dependent class object and inject into target class object. So that means here somebody should create the object for the engine and they should keep that engine object into the target. Then our class will become loosely coupled. Then car can access the engine class method. So for that, we are going to follow Spring core module concepts. What is the main purpose of the core module? The core module is going to provide some concepts to manage the classes. What is the meaning of managing the classes? Create the object and inject the object. The process of creating the object and inject the object is called as dependency injection. Actually, who is responsible to perform the dependency injection? Program. I want to call one class method in the another class. Generally, programmer is responsible for dependency injection. But if a programmer perform the dependency injection, is-a, as-a, tightly coupling. Tightly coupling not recommended. We need to go for loosely coupling. So for that, instead of I am doing the work, I will give that work to IOC container. Inversion. I am delegating my responsibilities to the IOC container. On behalf of me, IOC container will perform the object creation. So what is IOC here? What is IOC? IOC stands for inversion of control. Why it is called inversion of control? We are giving the control to the IOC to manage our objects. Actually, I need to manage the object. Instead of I am managing the objects, I am giving the control to IOC container to manage the object. That's why it is called inversion of control. Inversion of control. So the definition of IOC, we can say like this. IOC is a principle. IOC is a principle which is used to manage. Which is used to manage the classes available in our application. Manage and collaborate, which is used to manage and collaborate the classes available in our application. What is the meaning of managing and collaborating? Create the object, inject the object. Manage and collaborate. Establish the relation from one class to another class. That is called collaboration. IOC is a principle which is used to manage and collaborate classes available in the application. IOC container will take care of, IOC will perform dependency injection in our application. IOC container will perform dependency injection in our application. What is the meaning of dependency injection? Creating one class object and inject that object into another class object. Actually, who has to do that? Programmer. But who is going to do that now? IOC. That is called inversion of control. By using this IOC and DI, by using IOC and DI, we can achieve loosely coupling. We can achieve loosely coupling among the classes. When multiple classes are available, instead of you are going to create the object, you give it to the IOC container. IOC container will manage your classes. IOC container will collaborate your classes. IOC container will perform the dependency injection in the project so that our classes will be loosely coupled. So object creation, IOC will take care of that. You take the object and you call the method. That's it. Are you able to follow me? Any questions as of now? Anybody feeling difficult? Initially, as I told you, IOC container concept, you can't understand one day, or within 1 hour, you can't understand IOC container dependency injection. I told you, I need 1 week of time to teach you what is IOC container, what is dependency injection. If you develop 2 to 3 projects with the IOC container, then only you will get full clarity on the IOC container. Able to follow me? Yes. Now, tell me, what is the easier relation? What is the as-a relation? What is the problem with the easier relation and as-a relation? Sorry, what is the easier relation? If one class is extending the properties from another class, then we call it as a easier relation. Recommended or not recommended? Not recommended. Why? Java does not support for multiple inheritance. So to overcome that problem, I'm going for has-a relation. To overcome the problem, I'm going for has-a relation. What is the meaning of has-a relation? You create the object and you call the method. What is the problem? Tightly. If you go for easy, if you go for as-a, classes are tightly coupled. I should not create the classes with the tightly coupling. I need to develop the classes with the loosely coupling. Okay. For that, what we are going to do? We are going to use Spring Core module. So Spring Core module providing IOC container dependency injection to make our classes loosely coupled. IOC container will manage our classes. IOC container will collaborate our classes. IOC container will perform dependency injection for our classes. One class is dependent on the another class. Instead of you are creating the object, IOC container will create the object. IOC container will inject that object into our class. So what is the definition for dependency injection? What is the definition for a dependency injection? The process of creating one class object and inject into another class object is called as dependency injection. The process of creating one class object and inject into another class object is called as dependency injection. Who will perform the dependency injection in the Spring now? IOC container. Who is giving the IOC container for us? Spring Core module. Why we are using Spring Core module? To use the IOC container and dependency injection. Core module will not manage. Core module giving IOC container which will manage our classes. So why we will use core module? To manage the classes. How core module will manage the classes? By using IOC container. IOC container is a concept of the core module. Are you getting my point? Somebody is asking, what is the difference between core module and IOC container? Core module, IOC can't compare. Core module, nothing but it will give you some classes to manage the classes. Those are managed by IOC. IOC is a concept. IOC is a concept which is part of the core module. That IOC container will perform dependency injection. Are you clear? What is the benefit if I use this IOC and DI? What is the benefit we are going to get with IOC and DI? With IOC and DI, we can achieve loosely coupling among the classes. With IOC container and dependency injection, we can achieve loosely coupling among the class. IOC container is also a one Java class. Are you getting my point? IOC container is also a one Java class. That is Java class will create the object for our Java class. That IOC Java class is a predefined class developed by Spring Framework. Inside the Spring Framework, IOC Java class is a Java class. That Java class will take our classes, will create the objects for our classes, will give the objects by injecting the object. Then we will use the object, we will call the methods. Now, so here, when we want to manage the classes by using IOC container, here IOC container should know about our classes. Okay. In a project, how many classes are available? In a project, how many classes are available? That information IOC container should know. So IOC is a Java class. In a project, 1000 classes available. Which classes should be managed by IOC? Which classes should not manage in our project? In our project, 1000 classes available. For 200 classes are just POJO classes. No need to create the object. Those 200 classes, object creation not required. Okay. But the remaining 800 classes available, those classes should be managed by IOC container. How the IOC container will understand which classes it has to manage, which classes it no need to manage. Some information we need to give to the IOC container. Yes or no? So that's where some configuration comes into picture. We need to write some configuration. I need to give some configuration to the IOC container. That configuration will tell to IOC in our project what are the classes available, which classes should be managed by IOC, which classes should not managed by IOC. We need to provide as a configuration. Are you able to follow me? How IOC will understand what classes it has to manage? With the help of configuration. Now you see, in our project, there are so many Java classes available. In my project, there are so many multiple Java classes will be available in the project. Who should create the object for these classes? Programmer or IOC? If a programmer create a tightly coupling, that's why we will give these classes to IOC container to create the object. IOC is another Java class, which is a predefined Java class. So I will call this as IOC container. I will call this as a IOC container. So all these Java classes I will give to IOC. Hey IOC, these are my classes. You have to manage. How to manage? Which is a target? Which is a dependent? Which class object should be injected into which class? Engine object should go to car or car object should go to engine. I know that, but IOC don't know. So as a human being, we have our brain. We know that car requires engine. Car requires engine. So will anybody think that engine requires car? No. Car requires engine. Car depends on engine. I know that, but IOC don't. I need to tell to IOC, hey IOC, car is my target. Engine is dependent for the car. Car is dependent on the engine. You create the engine object. You give the engine object to the car object. You perform the dependency injection in this way only. You create engine object. You give the engine object to car object. That information I need to tell to IOC container. That information we will tell to IOC container by using some configuration. Some configuration is required. That configuration we will give to IOC content. Okay. So what we are going to do now? Java classes plus configuration we will give as an input for the IOC container. Based on the given configuration, IOC container will manage our classes. Based on the given configuration, IOC container will manage our classes. What is the meaning of managing the classes? Create the object, inject the object. Create the object and inject the object. This configuration, earlier people used to do by using XML. Earlier people used to do the configuration by using XML. Then after, people has done the configuration in the Java only directly. Java configuration. And nowadays, we are doing the configuration by using annotation. How many ways we can do the configuration now? 3 ways. What are the 3 ways? One is XML configuration. Another one is Java configuration. Another one is annotation configuration. XML configuration, Java configuration, annotation configuration is available. This XML configuration outdated in the market. People in the starting stages in the Spring 3.x version, Spring 2.x version, people use XML configuration to give the information to IOC. Currently in the market, people are using Java-based configuration and annotation-based configuration. And one more thing, if you go for the Spring Boot, XML not supported by Spring Boot. They completely removed it in the Spring Boot because it's outdated. It's not required. In the Spring Boot, we can use XML configuration. But when you go for Spring Boot, no XML configuration. Now, is there any use of learning the XML configuration? Why not required? In the Spring Boot, do we have XML configuration? So currently people are developing a project with the only Spring or with the Spring Boot. Spring Boot is extension for the Spring Frame. People are developing the project by using Spring Boot. In the Spring Boot, no XML. That does not support XML. So here, whatever the configuration we need to manage in the project, that configuration we can manage by using XML, we can manage by using Java, we can manage by using annotations also. Spring will support for all the 3, but the Spring Boot will support for only last 2. Are you getting my point? Yes. Once you give this configuration to the IOC container, Java classes to the IOC container, then IOC container will manage our classes and will provide the classes which are ready to use. Those classes are called Spring Beans. Those classes are called Spring. I will give Java, normal Java class as the input for the IOC container, and I will give configuration as the input for the IOC container. What IOC is giving to me? What IOC is giving to me? IOC is giving Spring Bean to me. What is the meaning of Spring Bean? The Java class which is managed by IOC container is called as a Spring Bean. Can you tell me what is a Spring Bean now? Come on. What is a Spring Bean now? The Java class which is managed by IOC container is called as Spring Bean. What is the meaning of managing? Creating the objects, injecting the object. Create the object and inject the object. Who will take care of that? IOC container. What is input for the IOC container? Normal Java classes and configuration. How many ways we can do the configuration in the Spring framework? 3 ways. What are those 3 ways? One is XML configuration. Second one is Java configuration. Third one is annotation based configuration. Which one is recommended? Java and annotation configuration is recommended. Java and annotation configuration is recommended. XML configuration is outdated. But I will show you 1 or 2 examples with the XML also, just to get the basic idea, because tomorrow when you go for the company, if that project is not using Spring Boot, you should know how to manage that, right? Some legacy projects, 1% of the projects may be available like that who are not upgraded to the Spring Boot. Legacy projects are. So these projects are managing the configuration in the XML. So tomorrow when you go to the project, if they are using XML, you should not get surprised. You should not get shocked. You should have some idea. So that's why only 1 or 2 examples, not more than that. Out of 60 projects in the course, 1 or 2 projects we are going to develop by using XML approach to understand legacy implementation. But in the current trending market, XML is not there because Spring Boot we are using to develop the project. Spring Boot will not support for XML configuration. Are you able to follow me? Yes. So what is the meaning of Spring Bean? The Java class, which is managed by IOC container, is called as a Spring Bean. So object creation, object injection, IOC object creation, dependency injection, IOC container will take. Okay. So now we are creating controller classes. In our project, if you observe, controller classes will be available in our project. Service classes will be available in our project. DAO classes will be available in our project. So are we going to manage them or they will be managed by IOC? They will be managed by IOC. So can I call them as Spring Beans now? Can I call them as Spring Beans now? Yes. Why we are calling them as Spring Beans now? Because all these classes will be managed by IOC container in the project. All these classes will be managed by IOC container in the project. Very good. Look at this diagram. What is IOC?
All the Java classes.
The Java classes which are managed by IOC container is called as Spring Boot. Right. Good. By using IOC and DI, we can achieve loosely coupling among the classes. So we will give our Java classes and configuration as input to IOC container. IOC container will manage our classes and will give Spring Beans. IOC will take our normal Java classes and it provides Spring Beans. What is the Spring Bean? Come on. What is a Spring Bean? The Spring Bean nothing but the Java class which is managed by IOC is called as Spring Bean. That means our Java class life cycle, object creation, object injection, object destruction will be taken care by IOC container. Any Java class which is managed by IOC container, that class is called as Spring Bean. Okay. IOC will take our normal Java class configuration and Java classes. We can do the configuration in 3 ways. We can do configuration in 3 ways. One is XML, another one is Java based configuration, third one is annotations based configuration. This is outdated. Spring Boot will not support. Whatever the notes I am writing, these notes will help you for the revision. I will upload these notes in the portal. You no need to write the notes when you are attending the class. Okay. All of you got the portal access? How to download the notes in the website? Are you able to understand? I will show you once again. Okay. So fine guys. So with this today, we understood how the projects will be developed, how many classes will be available, what type of classes will be available in the project, and how one Java class will communicate with another Java class. What is the easier relation? What is the as-a relation? What is the problem with the easier relation and as-a relation? And to overcome that problem, what is the solution? That is a core module, IOC container dependency injection. As of now, theoretically, we understood what is IOC container and what is dependency injection. IOC is a principle which is going to manage our classes in the project. IOC container will take care of dependency injection. Dependency injection means create one class object and inject into another class object. For the IOC container, we will give Java class as the input, configuration file as the input, XML configuration, Java configuration, annotation configuration. Based on the configuration, IOC will manage the classes, will give the Spring Bean. What is the meaning of Spring Bean? What is the meaning of Spring Bean? The Java class, which is managed by IOC container, is called as Spring Bean. The Java class, which is managed by IOC container, is called as Spring Bean. Okay, good guys. Thank you. I'm going to upload these notes in the website. As I told you, I will log in as a faculty in the portal. Our course is 45 SBMS and introduction notes available. I will separate introduction part and core part today. So as of now, I am uploading a single file, guys. Yeah, Spring core notes is available. I'm uploading that and I am saving that file. Okay, I have done this. You will log in into the website. Once your enrollment is completed, guys, you will get the access in the website. You will log in into the website as a student. You will get a username and password. If you are not able to log in with the credentials, there is an option called sign in with Google. If you click on this, it will ask to log in into Gmail. With your Gmail account, you can access our Ashokati website. Click on login. Once you log in into the website, you will go to My Courses page in the website. In the My Courses page, which course you joined in the Ashok IT, that course will be displayed here. Zoom link also will be available here. View notes option also will be available here. Online people to join the Zoom class, you need to click on this button. It will open the Zoom link for you. Okay. If I update the Zoom link, you can access from the website. Zoom link we will not send to your email. We will not send in the WhatsApp group. It will be available in the website only. Class notes also, after every class is completed, I will upload the notes into our website. You can go here, click on view notes option. Whatever the notes I have uploaded, that notes option will be available here. When you click on the download option, the notes will open like this. Okay, you can read these notes. If you want to save it, you just press Ctrl S. That file will be saved into your system also. And the people who take the backup video plan, for them, watch video option is available here. Watch backup videos. So when you click on watch backup videos, it will go to the videos platform. Videos will be available serial wise, 1, 2, 3 like that. Date wise, serial wise videos will be available. In the notes, I will mention the date also. Which date, which topic we are discussing, I am mentioning the date here. Okay, Spring AOP scheduler. We started Spring core module today. The today's date, 17th July. Right. So with this date, whatever the topic we discussed today for this class video, in the videos portal, with this date, the video file will be available. For revision purpose, you can watch that video. So notes plus videos plus Zoom link, everything will be available in the website only. Okay, guys. If anybody want to take a break from the course, sir, due to some my work, I'm not able to continue this batch. I will take a break and I will go for the next batch. If anybody having that kind of problem, there is a customer support option is available. Raise complaint option is available. You need to inform to the admin team if you are taking a break from the course. Okay. So here, select the course which you joined. Here you write your complaint. I want to take the break from 45 SBMS course. I want to join in the next Spring Boot Microservices batch. If you raise a complaint like this, they will remove you from the current batch. They will add you in the next batch. Okay. So this website is very well organized, guys. So the courses, whatever you join, you can access. Notes, Zoom link, videos you can access. Customer support, if you have any complaint, that complaint you can keep here. And you can check your previous complaints also. What is the customer team response? You will get the update here. Are you clear with my point? Yes. Good. So any questions, anyone? Yes, I am adding the dates in the notes. Yes, every day I will mention the dates like this. Okay, good. Yeah, offline students, any questions, anybody? All of you got the access in the website? If you don't have the access in the website, please talk to the admin team. They will tell you how to access it. Online people, once your enrollment is completed, then you will get the access in the portal to access the notes plus videos plus Zoom link. So when I update the Zoom, when I change the Zoom link, I will update in the website. You will not get any message in the WhatsApp. You need to join the class daily from the website only. In the website, latest Zoom link will be available. Is it clear? Good. Thank you. Any questions, anyone? No. Okay, guys. Thank you. We'll meet tomorrow.